Hello there. Today's video is about my personal favorite Android app for beginning digital art. So let's get to it. My personal favorite digital art app for Android is I like Sketchbook. I think it's a great app if you want to begin drawing. I personally began digital art only in March and I love the app a lot because it was free, first of all, available on the Google Play Store, and it had no ads, and I started on an Android tablet. So let's see how you can actually progress using the Sketchbook app and cue the walkthrough. So this is the interface of the Sketchbook app. This is the blank page where you can start. So let me just show you how it works. As you can see, this is my normal screen. Once I click on the app, this should open. So it will normally ask you to take a new sketch and just choose the screen size. If you don't want to, then you can simply enter the size of this paper or the canvas you want to use using these. It will show you how many pixels you want. So we'll just keep these proportions and create. So as you can see, this is my canvas and this is where we are going to start our drawing. Simply going to just give you a walkthrough about how you can simply start a piece and the brushes which are most useful to start drawing. So the first is the pencil. As you can see, on clicking the pencil, we can see that it gives a variety of options over here. We'll look into that later, no need to worry about it now. So standard, there's a size for the pencil. As you can see, it draws, and we can increase or decrease the size by simply doing this. You can also increase the opacity, that is if you have something under the pencil. For example, let me just fill this color here, and then I decrease the opacity and draw something, then it will appear lighter. But whereas if I increase the opacity, as you can see, it appears darker. So that's about the pencil and the basic things about size and opacity. These advanced ones you don't have to worry about now as you're beginning. So just stick to the size and opacity. And as you can see, what do these mean? So normally you can just go with the standard and use, but I find smudge quite useful when the actual smudge brush is a bit not suitable for the drawing I'm making. So we'll look into that too. This is simply a vintage marker. This is not very useful. This is a flow airbrush. I find this very useful when, for example, you draw a face and you want to give it a bit of shading. Say this, let's just draw a very simple face over here. We'll use this. And so this is my skin tone. And I want to add a bit of highlight to it. So I can use the airbrush to give it a darker side and a lighter side, just to add highlight. Or for example, if you want to show that an object is giving out light or something like that, just to add a little bit of shading, we can use the airbrush. Same controls here. One thing you want to take care is, if you have small details, this can really mess up the painting, so it may be better to simply use a marker or calligraphy pen and then smudge it. So the next is a technical pen. So this is slightly different from this fountain pen, which I prefer using generally for drawing. So this technical pen, it's currently set to smudge, so I just change it to standard. So why I don't use the technical pen is, it doesn't have pressure sensitivity. So what is pressure sensitivity, you may ask? So the thing is, pressure sensitivity is the thing where if you press harder, the line is sort of thicker, and if you draw with a light stroke, then the line becomes thinner. So the calligraphy pen, which I normally use, a fountain pen rather, it has pressure sensitivity. So I'll just demonstrate it to you. Thicker, and then that goes thinner. Whereas if I use this pen, it's just uniform all the way. I cannot really use that pressure sensitivity much. I really appreciate the pressure sensitivity, so I don't use this technical pen as much. But when I was initially starting, like the first 2 or 3 months, I really didn't know how to use the pressure sensitivity very well. So I started with the technical pen. So I think it's a very important tool. If you just want to outline stuff neatly, you can use the technical pen. And next is of course the fountain pen. This is the one which I use most often. So this is also for outlining stuff, simply drawing stuff. I use this, and also for coloring. You can shade in pretty easily with this after increasing the size. Yeah, that's basically it. It's a very nice pen to use, for coloring, shading, everything. And I really don't use these brushes, so let's just skip them. They're not that important unless you want to try to do traditional art on the digital canvas. Then maybe the watercolor brushes, obviously you have to learn about it, but just for the beginning it is not really important. And this is very simple. It's the smudge pen, so you really don't have to worry about flow right now and the strength. Just focus on the size. So if you want to smudge something, you want to blend it, then we can simply use this pen. Right now it's set to a very small size to work on details, so can't really appreciate it. So I just increase the size a little bit, and you can just see over here how the black will simply blend into the blue. This is a really useful tool, like you smudge oil pastels and stuff. You can smudge on this as well. It's very useful. So just like that. And it will just become sort of merged together. And obviously this is an eraser. It has size. Don't worry about the flow. Simply erase it. This is another eraser. It's not really necessary right now, so we'll just go with the normal eraser, which is this one. And this I really don't use. It's simply a charcoal blender. Like, it's another type of smudger, but it has a texture to it. And this I really like. This is a chalk pastel. It is supposed to be used normally, but I use it as smudger because when you want to add texture to clothes, you want to make it look coarse, then this works really well. So I'll simply increase the size so that you can appreciate what I'm trying to say. So it gives the sort of coarse look to clothes, or if you want to draw fur of some kind, just for the coarse look, it's really useful. And this stuff I really don't use much. As you can see, this is a synthetic acrylic, synthetic oil, and color builder. So it's not really necessary to pay much attention to all these in the beginning. So let's just review. Pencil, flow airbrush, technical pen, fountain pen, smudge pen, eraser, and this is like an optional extra, the chalk pastel. If you just experiment with the app and learn how to use these brushes properly, then it will be very easy to start drawing, and with practice you will easily get better. Let's just look through the color palette and some other useful features. So first of all, obviously this is the color palette. I prefer simply using the color wheel, so it's the easiest thing to do, trust me. So let's just look through that. Just choose the color you want, like this. This goes the more saturated form of the color, darker, grayish, and then white. And you can choose the colors on this wheel and just choose their shades over here. So that's basically the wheel. And there's another way to use the wheel. You simply choose your color here, adjust the saturation and the light like this, using this, and that's basically it. Now a few more important things. There are layers to your painting. So this is the background, so we'll simply fill this black, and this is the first layer. We'll do a white something. We'll just draw something with white, and this is the first layer, and we can add another layer on top of it. Now we can even decrease the opacity of this layer. Let me just show you how. So let's just take a color, say peach, and we'll paint on this layer. As you can see, it goes over the white layer, but if I paint white, I'll just go to the previous layer again, and then I paint white, it will not go over the peach I've painted on the next layer. I hope you can just understand what I'm saying. This layer can paint over this layer. So this layer can paint over this layer, but this layer cannot paint over this layer. It will just paint on the layers below. So I hope you can really appreciate it. And now I'll show you what I mean by reducing the opacity of a layer as well. So we'll just do something on this layer again, so you can see a little better. And if we reduce the opacity, as you can see, this layer just becomes lighter and lighter, which isn't much visible. So if you want to trace something in the beginning, you have a reference image on this layer and you want to trace something on the next layer, reducing the opacity and then tracing is a really good idea. So that's basically it about the layers. So, and the main thing to learn over here, there are actually two main things. So one is fill color, obviously. If you had done some MS Paint or something, then you would know. You can simply draw something. Let's just make sure the outline is good enough, and then fill it with color. Like that. So that is fill color. And one more important thing which I think is useful is how you can draw a line, a oval, or a rectangle. So line, oval, rectangle. You can use this button for that. And there's a ruler as well, ruler or curved ruler or an ellipse. So you can use that. You can simply position the ruler and use it to draw a line. Similarly for the others, curved ruler and an ellipse. So that's basically the most important things.